Welcome to I Heart Geek. And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. Wow. Why does this look so different? We're doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier 5 and everybody's different. Most everybody. I recognize that guy below me. Tyler, how you doing, bud?
Doing all right.
And then Skeeter and Griffin had some stuff, and Christina had a stuff. So we have.
Am I a joke to you now?
A little bit. But we do have Courtney and Michelle with us. How are you guys doing today? And welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, this
Heart
is
Geek royalty on here today.
no joke. I feel like, lowly peasant
Michelle.
at this point.
No, but we should do the princess wave.
Princess Wave.
Okay, now I wanted to start this out with something a little bit heavier, and then we're going to lighten up, I promise. This week, we lost a really good friend to the show, Dino from the Hub podcast. He's been on several times. Fantastic guy. You'll see in our show notes, we have a link to a GoFundMe. Do us a favor, give to it. This is money that goes to his family. He has 3 small children and a wife that weren't prepared because he went very young and it was completely unexpected through no fault of anybody. If not that matters, but it was no fault to anyone what happened. So give to our GoFundMe and honor a great guy who's a great part of the show.
Great guy.
So yeah, well that's let's move on a little bit, and I'm sure we'll talk about him soon. Okay, so we're going to talk Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5. What first thoughts, guys? Courtney, let's start with you.
I really enjoyed the opening fight a lot, and I really enjoyed a lot of the Sam backstory stuff that came about toward the end of the episode. There were parts of it that I will fully admit I didn't care.
Which we'll get to as we go.
We'll talk about that. And you guys can all hate me for it, but it is what it is.
Okay, Michelle, what about you? What was your first thoughts on this?
I love that it was just right out of the gate and, really no hesitation. And you could just feel, he was just suffering from the grief and the guilt and freaking out about what just happened, and you could just see like the wheels turning, and yeah, when Sam and Bucky show up, you just knew like it's on.
It's on. Yeah,
I loved it. I loved how that just was like boom.
Yeah,
here we go.
Tyler, first thoughts?
Yeah, I really did like how this one was structured. Just picking up right where we left off. And then there was a few moments in the show where they paused, but I feel like this show kind of moved us forward a bit more. And we'll get into more of that later. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of with Courtney on this one. There was some stuff on this episode I loved. There's some character development that I finally like some characters that I've been very vocal about hating the entire time. There's been characters that I like even less, and that's saying something. And there was a new character that makes me so excited for the Marvel universe that we can do so much stuff, and we'll talk about her soon. So let's start with scene 1. And we're just going to talk about it. It's the fight. Fantastic fight scene. I think it's one of the better fight scenes we've seen in the televised Marvel universe.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot we can go on this. I think that when Sam got his wings ripped off, that was incredibly violent looking. And they're a machine, I know, but it looked like literally an angel having his wings torn off in some demonic fair. I don't know how they did that, and I felt like, ouch, ouch. And it's machinery, but it was painful almost.
Well, it's an emotional thing too, like how symbolic that was. And I think what got me was just him saying, "I am Captain America." Just like, it just made it even more vicious.
Yeah. I liked the talk beforehand, honestly, when they almost had him talk down until that weird jealousy, because he doesn't want to do what Sam did and give up the shield because it means something to him. Which, hey, at least it means something to him. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get off the Sam hate train soon, I promise.
Wow.
There's some good moments. There's some good moments later. I'm telling you, there's good stuff. But
I really feel like ripping those wings off really was our point where Sam's going to move forward. That was making that statement. Like, he's no longer Falcon.
Anything else on this one, Courtney, before we move on?
Well, I mean, just a lot of the lines that had to been said, where, and like Michelle said, I am Captain America. He's screaming it, and he's not saying it to convince anybody else in the room.
But himself.
He's saying it to convince himself.
Right.
And also where he looks at them, when Walker looks at them and says, "You don't want to do this," and Bucky just was like, "Yeah, we do."
The way he delivered that line was so awesome.
Done with your crap. This is going to happen. And the other very intense moment that, in addition to the wings ripped off, because you remember Sam got one wing ripped off in Winter Soldier. So this is not the first time he's been de-winged, but this is the time where both of them have been taken.
Yeah.
But the other really intense visceral moment is they have to break his arm to get the shield off.
Ooh, that was dark.
That's why he screams, is because when Sam is pulling it, he has to break Walker's arm to get him to give up the shield in the first place. And it's pretty intense.
And as much as he is a bad guy, you got to respect that the shield did mean that much to him. That the symbolism.
I think we need to give props to Wyatt Russell because he is knocking it out of the park in this episode throughout the episode.
Best I've seen him.
Yep.
You don't. I mean, he's a bad guy, but you don't hate him nearly like you hate him before.
Oh well.
Because the way he portrays that, how conflicted he is, and how, I mean, it's painful. It's painful to watch, and I'm not excusing the choices that he made, but you can see just he is just tortured, and he portrays that perfectly.
And I think it shows. I think the fight scene in particular shows exactly what Erskine talks about in Cap First Avenger, where he says the serum doesn't make you, it doesn't make you great. If you're a good man, it makes you better. If you're a bad man, it makes you worse. I think in at least the way that Russell is playing it is, he's not all bad. He's not all good. So it's got this mix of them, which I think adds to the tortured element. It just amps that up, the tortured element that Michelle was talking about.
Yeah, which is very military. But go ahead, Michelle.
And I think just one last thing too in this first scene, what really got me was when they finally get the shield back. Sam's got it, and he's laying there, and he's just like he's wiping the blood off of it, and you almost get the feeling like he's like it's a living thing, like you would try and wipe, your buddy, your friend, or something. It was just like so emotional. I'm just like, you could just feel he's just trying to clean it off. Like,
one other quick thing that I noticed, and this is the camera work, when Bucky drops it next to Sam's head and walks away, it's exactly what Steve does in Civil War.
Yep.
He drops it, and he literally drops it on the same side, the same way, drops it next to Tony's head and starts to walk away.
And that look he shot him when he gave him the shield, it kind of said, all right, we've corrected your mistake,
Yeah. Which is once again where, I feel like Winter Soldier is more Captain, or Bucky is more Captain America than Sam. I mean,
I was rooting for him.
there's some fantastic moments here, and I'm okay with Sam now. We'll get into that later, but I still think that Bucky is more Captain America than anyone on Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, I was kind of bracing myself for that, but
I was hoping for it.
They showed him hold that shield a couple times, man, and my heart jumped a little bit. I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do here? But no, they didn't.
Okay, so let's go on to scene 2. I call this one military justice. We're going to start with a little meeting afterwards. And I want to know one question. Why does Sam give away everything the dead heroes give him? First the shield, now the wings.
Oh, man.
Well, because he has to become Cap, and then Torres has to be able to become Falcon.
Yeah,
because it's in the script.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a process, Dub.
Give away everything that means anything to you.
Wow.
I don't know. Like, I mean, imagine the weight of all of this too. I mean, I don't know that I would just be like, cool, I'm gonna pick up the shield and I'm now ready. You know, like the weight of all of that must be intense. Would you just say okay and grab it and there you go? Or
yeah, this time.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this time I think it was last time he was giving the shield away, he didn't feel worthy, He had some self-conscious stuff going on there. Whatever. This time, I think it's because he's done being the Falcon.
Yeah.
He's making his transition. So, it was more appropriate this time around.
Yeah. Which honestly probably would have made more sense after the Isaiah meeting, but we'll get to that later. It would have been, I think, a little bit more along the lines of what you're saying on that one, Tyler.
And Torres was in the room, and we know why he gave those to Torres.
Which is awesome. Now, the only thing this is something that I discuss with a lot of people that makes me very sad about this is because people that aren't really big comic readers aren't going to get, yes, you can have Sam as Captain America with the mostly white suit, which is really cool. But there's something that was so cool about the suit with the wings. It looked like an eagle. And that's something that I wanted to see because I love the comics, and I wanted people that don't read the comics to be able to experience that because it is such a beautiful look. And that's something that actually makes me a little bit sad with the non-comic readers. And I know you can go back, but it's not the same, if that makes sense. Let's see. The court-martial was difficult because Walker was right. The government did make him. He basically did what he was told to, and it sucks. As a former military, it sucks to watch he was a Medal of Honor winner. You have a dishonorable discharge, and you will receive no benefits, and you do not get to call yourself a veteran, basically. That broke my heart for him, and all those emotions I felt everything with him. Is he a bad guy? Yes, blah, blah. That was gut-wrenching. Anybody else get anything on the court-martial part?
I get that point, and my history, so I do understand the impact of that. I understand what the military turns people into. I get that, but at the end of the day, there were some choices that he made that he is in denial about. We make choices, and I get that there's these conflicted things, but it was really hard for me. My heart did break for him in that instant, but then it's just like, well, you kind of chose this path.
And to kind of jump on and follow up that, I guess my thing is like he's not in denial about who killed Lamar. And I mean, we'll talk about more.
We're going to discuss that in a few minutes. I do want to get into that a little deeper.
But he keeps reiterating through the entire time that the guy that he killed is the one that killed Lamar. But if you look at his face in the fight scene, so that's why I'm bringing it up, because they tell him in the fight scene he didn't do it. He literally knows this and does not care. And that is the moment where the audience needs to realize, or that we realize, that is why he will never be Captain America. That's why he's U.S. agent. But then he keeps perpetuating the lie. he perpetuates it in the court-martial, and then we'll get to when he talks to his parents.
Yeah, which I do want to hit into that because there's some really heavy stuff in that, which I really want to discuss a little deeper. And then we get to see 5 words that are just makes my little geek heart happy. Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. So
Goodness.
awesome. Okay, why is this a big deal? I mean, please do your research on this if you watch
First off,
this.
is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I never thought would show up in a Marvel property, and thank you whoever decided to cast her.
That was pretty cool.
Like, how many jaws just like dropped? Because mine was one of them.
Right. I mean, from the character and the actress, it was, no way! You just didn't make me have Christmas in April.
She is a huge deal when you find out the implications of what she's bringing to the table.
Oh yeah.
Something that's kind of interesting on her is that she was supposed to be in months ago when they were supposed to release this movie called Black Widow. She was supposed to be a part of it. At least in the kind of the same cameo she just did today, from what I understand. And then she was supposed to be a bigger part now. So because of the pandemic and all that, they basically moved it to this. So
now is that why? Because of the pandemic and filming schedules?
That's what I understand. Either that or just because they can't figure out how to grab their butts with both hands to get Black Widow made.
Black Widow out.
Because word on the street is that there was
Which street is that? Sesame?
Yes, actually. Very good. No, there was like a subplot or something possibly that had to do with vaccines and a virus outbreak, and that it was all tied into what's going on, but they had to kind of nix that again because of the pandemic. So maybe that's why they shifted her over to this series.
Yeah, I think she fits here.
Very much. And she's not playing comedic,
there, but she fits here.
She's not being funny.
She's not dancing.
She nailed. I mean, and I'm coming from a place that I was not a comic book reader, and I actually had to go and research her character, and she nailed it from everything that I read. I was like,
there's a lot there. She could be bringing Leviathan to the table as a new big bad.
Well, and what I told Dub earlier is, she could be bringing Leviathan in, but most people forget Leviathan has already been brought into the MCU. Leviathan is part of the Agent Carter TV series.
So don't count.
And we're done being friends. So it's part. Leviathan's already in there. So if anybody's curious, because I know we have some people who aren't.
No, you're right.
Leviathan is the Russian arm of Hydra, basically.
Well, they were rivals, weren't they?
Yeah, but then it was started originally
she's like
as
a triple
the Russian
spy.
arm, and then it kind of split off onto its own, and then she ended up betraying Hydra to Leviathan.
Right.
Even though she was a spy for the States.
She was a triple agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like a triple agent. She's probably...
Some of the comic book history I think Dub is really waiting for is I think she was replaced by a Skrull at one point.
Shut your dirty pie hole. In fact, I want to bring that up. I want to bring that up right now because this is some of the things she brings into the table. We can get so much super spy stuff without the superpowers, which is so awesome because we need more of that. I love my superheroes, but we've got to have the real stuff, the Batman, for lack of a better term. So this makes U.S. Agent make a lot more sense, and we can get a non-Skrulls Fury back because they were dating at some point.
They were together.
They had date night. They had 2 date night comic books. So
yeah,
important.
And things got a little tumultuous there too.
Things got a little heavy with the force. Hey,
he has a massive bio that I feel like we could spend the entire
episode
talking about. One cool thing is one of her aliases, Agent 14. Yep. Sharon Carter's alias is Agent 13. Throwing that out there.
Which we will get to in a minute.
She's not the power broker.
Okay, I don't think she is, but we'll get to that.
Well, that became the whole new thing. I saw all around the web.
It's the new Mephisto. Scene 3, Carly pontificates. I'm done listening. She has at least 2 monologues per episode, and they spent so much time trying to give her sympathy, but now you can't give her sympathy anymore.
Nope.
And you don't feel like she's a threat because talky talk.
Yeah.
I'm done.
She reminds me of Syndrome in The Incredibles at the end, where he's like, "You got me monologuing."
She needs
like, don't care. Bye, done.
Okay,
blow stuff up.
Yeah.
Someone in the writing room really likes this character a lot. Yeah, it's probably the same one that was writing Sam before this episode. So
it just starts to, it starts to feel like they're just pushing and pushing and pushing, like trying to, I don't know, justify her, or I don't know, but yeah, I agree. It was just like, come on.
Well,
enough.
Yes, she killed Lamar, but that aside, she's done nothing. Like nothing.
Yeah.
But talk.
mm-hmm.
Like all she does is talk. And she's kind of whiny about it when she does.
She's not a good villain.
No, so I'm just
she's out
at this part in time.
She's a single issue villain.
Well, and she's not. How is she a good leader? Like, how is everybody like, oh, okay,
because she can whistle.
Like, right? Why is she
hit something on her phone? Oh, right, everyone shows up. Oh.
They're everywhere. That's why they're gonna win. No,
I'll learn that party trick.
Just done. Okay. Scene 4, Sokovia. I will admit I was wrong about Bucky getting the lifelong excommunication from Wakanda.
You were what now?
I was
wrong.
What now? I'll admit it. Hey,
this is being recorded.
Someone's been doing these shows and someone hasn't. So
yeah, but someone
shut
also,
your dirty pie hole.
Yeah, like okay, listeners, he yells at me on Marco Polo about this stuff. Just so you know.
We do. This is this kind of friendship we have, actually.
Yeah.
But I was partially right. It's at least temporary. And I think if he would not have turned in Zemo, I think that it would have been permanent. I think that relationship would have been over.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Well, and she does call him White Wolf again, and not James. And my little heart was like, oh, they're making up.
But it was really cool. I mean, him and Zemo had their little moment there. Neither of them are holding grudges, and Zemo took it upon himself to cross his name off his list.
Honestly, it was a beautiful moment with Zemo and Bucky, and I feel like
it was a great scene.
They were frenemies at that point.
Yeah,
I think Zemo wanted Bucky to kill him.
He did.
I think he wanted him.
He was accepting
because
accepting.
when there's you hear the click of the gun and nothing happens. You see Zemo's face, and it's just so crestfallen because I think he wanted his life to be taken by Bucky. Even though at this point in time they've kind of come to a disagreement. But then there's the great shot where Bucky just dumps all of the bullets on the ground, and Zemo's face, it almost falls. It's really beautiful to watch.
I mean, is it that he wants Bucky to kill him just in particular, or
I think
is Zemo, because Zemo seems to keep escaping death, and is it that he really just wants to die and be with his family and just that's it, or was it because it was Bucky? I have a thought. I think it was because it's Bucky, because he doesn't want to be killed by somebody he doesn't think is worthy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because he's very honorable like that, honestly.
He was okay with it being Bucky.
Yeah, I agree, because he did cross his name off of Bucky's book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
Before he did that.
But also he has nothing left. His family's gone. That was the whole Kickstarter for him.
Yeah.
But he destroyed, as far as he knows, he destroyed the serum. His mission is accomplished.
Yeah. Now, I did have one huge personal issue with this scene. It was this is one of those things that irritates me. It took me so far out of the show that I was yelling at the TV, and I'm not even kidding. I stopped watching. I texted a few people, "What is this?" a couple people on this
Bucky
panel at
can't
least.
hold the gun.
Okay, you know, this guy is a
The
soldier, and
rage
he does
text.
not know how to hold his weapon. There's no way on God's green earth anyone that has had more than a week of training on a weapon would ever hold the trigger like that, and it really bothered me a lot. With that being said, it's still a great scene.
You're just short of turning it sideways. Yeah.
Honestly,
Gangster Bucky.
yes. It kind of I know it's a small thing, and Marvel's really usually good about details like this, and I feel like this one just slipped, and it
Considering how many guns he's held in previous movies,
you'd figure he'd know how to do it.
Well, it wasn't loaded, and he was going to fake him out. Maybe it was done on purpose.
With the way he was holding it, he was a point blank, and he still would have missed. I'm just saying, he would have been okay. Okay,
That's why you turn it sideways.
Let's go for scene 5, Isaiah. I like this scene. However, if what happens later with Sam didn't happen, I would hate this scene and probably not watch the rest of the series.
Would have been a lot of heavy for a lot of nothing. So.
It's
yeah.
And this is the point that Sam becomes Sam again. He hasn't been. Whoever's been writing Sam does not understand Sam. Now I feel like they understand Sam. Sam is empathetic but still strong. And that's who Sam is. That's why Cap gave him the shield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he's been too empathetic and weak. And that's been my issue with the Sam character the whole time, and indecisive and not proud of anything. So he can see the injustice, but he still loves the country that he serves. And that is Sam. And that's what they've been missing, I think. Before we talk about this, I do want to say if you watch this, you have Disney Plus. So go to the Marvel animated Spider-Man series. They only have it as one season, but it's Spider-Man, the animated series by Marvel, episodes 54 through 58. It actually has the whole series. Those 4 episodes that it talks about the soldiers that got the serum, that it wasn't as good as Cap, so they all got like different parts of the serum, if that makes sense. So one was super strong, one was super fast, you know, and they could only use it for a certain amount of time before it killed them. This is kind of what they took this story from, and I would actually recommend checking that out because you have Disney Plus. They're like 20 minutes each, so, and they're really well drawn. So, what did you guys think of this scene? Let's start with Tyler this time because he's been going last.
Oh, it was really, really heavy, and it shined light on some things we're talking about in real life right now, and the certain treatment of specific individuals. It was really shocking to see exactly because they really detailed what he went through. And in the Truth series, in the comics, you know, he was tested on this, that, but man, they just how much they did to him. It was heartbreaking. And to see Sam and just absorbing it all, that was really intense. And you knew something was coming. He was making a decision at that point. But for him to say that no self-respecting black man would take that shield,
pissed me off. Yeah,
that was a lot. I get where he was coming from, you know, but I was really hoping they weren't going to go that direction, you know.
And I like that Sam, although he was being empathetic at that moment, that pissed him off. You could actually see it in his eyes, and and again, that moment right there is where I said, okay, I'm willing to accept Sam now.
Yeah.
It was that, because, and honestly, if it would have been last week, however he was being written, he would have been completely accepting and agreed with him. Michelle.
Yeah. I think he had to hear the story. He had to know what happened. He had to process that. And yeah, that line, I think just sealed the deal for him. And you can just see him running this through his head. Like, now I know what I need to do and why. I don't think he was dismissing Isaiah at all, because later he does bring it up again that, you know, we need to do something. And, you know, but it just gave him like that fuel. Like, okay, I can be Captain America. I can do this, and partially for this reason. He's got this reason now, and it's almost like it's just going to be a different captain, because of who he is, and because of the pain and the suffering that not only Isaiah had gone through, but I mean, I imagine other people.
Courtney?
I thought it was an extremely powerful scene. And for a lot of the reasons that we've already mentioned, I think it's really important to kind of shine a light on, as Tyler said, what's going on with certain individuals in our country now. What I also thought is, I thought it was a very interesting way, and this is kind of also how I looked at it, it's a very interesting way of addressing the same issues that occurred when Sam took up the shield in the comics. Because when it happened in the comics, there was a whole lot of blowback too. So it was almost
on the series. Yep.
Yeah, it was almost like Marvel was saying, we know you guys are jerks who had problems. Here we go. This is why.
Yeah.
And so it was almost a twofold meaning. It was to explain, it was to give us all that great backstory into Isaiah and to everything that he'd gone through, and on all of the 300 soldiers who were part of Project Rebirth, all that kind of stuff. And it was also to, like Michelle said, I think she's right too. I think this is where Sam said, yeah, I got to do this. I was given this for a reason. It's my turn now.
Yeah.
So to kind of right the wrongs of what came before.
Yeah. Okay. Scene 6, back to the bayou. I love seeing the community come together. I think that was fantastic. That is what America really is. As much as they usually don't paint that as part of America, that is the biggest part of America, and that's why. Yeah, and I know we have listeners all over the place. That's community. That's what's a good thing. Does anybody else want to see Bucky and Sarah hook up?
Yes.
A little bit.
If only just to make Sam mad.
Yeah.
But what's so cool that I love is that her name's Sarah. And you see when he's like, I'm Bucky, and I'm Sarah, and he kind of goes, Sarah. So I was like, wait, so what's the connection there? And Steve Rogers' mom's name was Sarah. So
Martha! I'm sorry.
I don't know if it was like, I don't know if he was like, oh, your name's Sarah. And I don't know. Yeah. I want to see it. And I love the fact that Sam's just like, don't flirt with my sister.
Well, and I like that we get to see 1940s Bucky whenever he interacts with Sarah, because it's like, hi, Sarah.
Yeah.
He's just all cute and flirty when Sarah shows up.
Well,
and he's like a little gentleman. It's
if you go back to Captain America, he was a ladies' man when you first meet Bucky. He's hanging out with two women. He's like, yeah. In the
showing that character progression, he's healing a little more.
Yeah. He's back to be. There's less Winter Soldier and more Bucky again. Yeah. And I think honestly, if they keep this art going forward, that can be a big part of his healing. Just
Sarah?
Yes.
Yeah. I like him so much right now. I'm in love with him.
Yep. So what's in the case? Oh, we'll talk about that later.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? We'll talk about that at the end. Yeah. Okay. We all know what it is.
We all know what it is.
Okay. Scene 7, visiting Lamar's parents. Now, I'm going to make two statements and then you guys can discuss. But I'm going to ask a question, then I'm going to make a statement. Does John believe he did kill who killed Lamar? We've discussed this, but I also want to make this statement. Right or wrong, at least he gave his parents closure. And that was the kindest thing he could have done. Because if it was all for nothing, that they spend the rest of their life in vengeance mode that they can't do anything about. At least they got their vengeance. Yeah. And that was the kindest thing he could have done. Whether he believes it or not, I believe that was one of the more moral things he's actually done for this family. So that's the question. Does John believe he killed his parents? And what did you think of the scene in general? Michelle, let's start with you this time.
Yeah. This scene made me feel yucky. It felt wrong. It felt like these poor people were just being completely snowed, and I'm starting to think he actually has convinced himself that what he did was completely justified, that the guy I don't know if he literally believes that the guy killed Lamar, but he's convinced himself in his mind that, yeah, what I did was right, and, I don't know if you guys noticed, it almost seemed like was it, Lamar's sister?
Yeah.
Just kinda gives him this look like, "Yeah, I don't like you." Like, maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I took her look that she gave him, was just something like she's like, eh. But no, I hated this. I hated the fact that now, sure, they have closure, but it's a lie. It's all a lie. So is that fair? I don't think that's fair.
My opinion on it, but Tyler?
No, I mean, I'm kind of on board there too. Yeah, it was grimy. I don't know. I was conflicted the whole time because, like you said, it
As you
gave him
should be.
he did right, and that's probably what they're going for, and they did
Mhm.
their job. He gave him closure. Awesome. Wasn't the truth though. It's I don't believe he is convinced in his mind that that was the person that killed Lamar.
Yeah.
But yeah, you tell a lie enough, it becomes
You
true.
start to believe it.
So we'll see.
Courtney?
Yeah, I think he knows that he didn't kill the right person.
I feel like he's convinced himself that he did.
I don't think he's there yet. I think he keeps trying to perpetuate the lie in order to convince himself. And I think he keeps doing that because he wants to feel justified in what he did. Because he didn't kill an innocent man. Let's be honest. He
No,
did
he
not
wasn't.
kill an innocent man.
Still a
The man
terrorist.
is part of the Flag Smashers.
Mhm.
They've caused a lot of death already. He wasn't innocent by any means, but in terms of what he prosecuted and executed him for, he was completely innocent of that crime. And in order for John to keep up this myth in his head that he is, because he still believes he's Captain America. He still believes it, regardless of having been stripped of everything and not having the shield and having all of this. He still believes, I am Captain America. I am the super soldier. What I do is right. So I think by going to Lamar's parents and telling him, well, I got the man that did it, it's to assuage his own guilt, but also to give them closure. But it's also to convince himself he's a good guy. He did the right thing like he's supposed to.
It was all for
So
himself.
I think the griminess is because I think we were all supposed to feel like we needed a shower after that on purpose. Because I'm with you guys. I felt gross after that scene.
And I love that they're making this is an interesting, multi-layered character. And they could have just made them all bad. I mean, this is so many layers on this. And what's the actor's name? Russell.
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell, I think, has got a huge career in front of him after this because this isn't. It doesn't matter how it was written. This performance has been.
He knocked it out of the park in this episode.
Yeah.
He really did.
Okay. Scene 8, Sharon's phone call. I still don't think she's the power broker. I think it's all misleading. Okay. And she was talking to Batok. That's a fact. Because if you turn on your closed captions, that's who it says it is. So it's yes, that's who it was. Is there anything?
She hired him to kill the Falcon.
I
don't know. He wants to, but I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what Sharon hired him to do.
Yeah.
We just know
she could have double agented it.
When he was coming through the phone in French, he says something about the first time my whole team got killed or something like that. She says, I'll pay you double. And then he shows up at the park later, I'm sure we'll get to that, and says, I'm only here to kill Falcon.
But that's his own personal agenda. We don't know that that's what Sharon hired him to do.
Yeah.
I think there's
now
I think there's a lot of double and triple and there's some quadruple crosses going on.
Yeah, there's way more going on.
No, she's not power broker.
No. And I hope they tell us next week.
They will when you see the Thunderbolt Ross.
Stop.
I'm really starting to feel like this might be one of the ones that Feige is going to make multiple seasons out of.
I'm hoping.
He said some of them will and some of them won't, because there are so many strands to close up in one episode, in one 40-minute maybe episode. You got to end the Flag Smashers. You got to introduce him as U.S. agent officially. You got to introduce the new Cap. You got to find out who the power. Nah, we're not getting this all tied up in 40 minutes next
Falcon,
Friday.
Yep.
Can I ask you guys a question honestly though? With everything coming out, and not everything's going to get the multiple episodes. Is this really the one you want to have the multiple seasons? Has the writing been that good?
No.
Kind of do.
No, that's fair.
I wouldn't
That's
mind.
a serious question.
I wouldn't mind.
Like Courtney's saying, how in the world are we going to have all these things resolved? You're just going to end up with this sort of, they're going to shove everything together, or
it'll lead to a movie. That I'm better with is if it's part of the next Avengers type movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, otherwise you're going to be waiting just as long anyway. So if that's the issue, you're going to be waiting just as long for a movie as you are for the next season.
Yeah.
And I say I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I mean, if you do want multiple seasons of this, you should. But I know we don't mention it, but the writing on this is not what WandaVision was. And I know they're different shows, but the writing was at a 10 with that. And honestly, it's at a 6 here. And
It's about
I mean, that's better than anything on TV. Don't get me wrong, but it is so. I think they have better stories they can tell multiple seasons of. And I'm not, and I say I'm not saying you guys are wrong on that. I just feel like, yeah. But then
I already
again,
know what show I think it's leading to.
which one is that? Go ahead, say it. Say it for the ninth time. The ninth time of this series.
WandaVision 2. What were you thinking?
Okay.
Thunderbolt.
Which, and honestly, that might be what it leads to. And
Well,
that would make more sense.
Let me make my case right quick.
Fire away.
Earlier, when we were talking about Zemo, they mentioned they're taking him to the raft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we saw the raft in Civil War out at sea. Nice little super prison for villains, super villains. And you're gonna have Zemo.
Villains. Yeah.
You're gonna have a whole lot of super villains in this one place, a place that notorious for being broken out of in the comics. And in Civil War,
Arkham.
who was overseeing it? Thunderbolt Ross himself. So I don't know. I may be making something out of nothing, but I think it's coming.
It could be. I'm not saying it's not, but no, I think it's Mephisto's got it all. Okay, see.
Dang it!
Sorry,
you took my line.
Okay, scene 9. I think we are on. Yes, training with the Shield. This is when the show starts. I feel like they should have been tying up loose ends rather than this, because talk. I felt like this is when I felt like, oh wow, this is kind of getting long, isn't it? Could be wrong on that.
Know.
Are you talking about the scene between Bucky and Sam?
Well, just
like
this whole time frame right here. From here on, it just kind of feels like.
Because there's two things I want to mention. I think one of the reasons we got
there's before and after the montage.
I think the reason we got the Bucky and Sam scene where they're throwing the shield back and forth and they're talking and Sam's in his counselor mode. The other thing is, and I think they did it to tie up any question about Endgame. Bucky says, when Steve told me his plan.
Yep.
So that makes the whole part of the Endgame where Bucky knew he was going to go back into an alternate timeline. He knew he was going to come back and he's going to give the shield to Sam. That cleared all that up, because, a lot of people are like, well, I don't understand why he left his best friend. And him being Steve, I don't know why he gave the shield to. Yeah, they already talked about it. They already knew. Yeah. So I think that was one of the things that they wanted to bring across in this scene.
Which I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So Sam and Sam again, and everything that I said about scene 5 in scene 5 earlier when we were talking about why I like this Sam. This is who he is now, and I'm okay with him now. I've been very vocal as a not Sam fan. But I'm okay with him now because it is the character now, and it's not this I'm trying to edit myself. This person that is very weak and not anything like the character that he's been portrayed in the comics or in the Marvel universe.
I'm gonna miss your anger towards him.
Yeah.
It'll be back, I'm sure.
I simply liked this scene just because you're seeing the progression of these guys together who couldn't even talk to each other, let alone, hang out outside throwing a shield. And then, what was really cool to me was how when Bucky finally admitted, it was the whole question like we had seen from the beginning where they asked about his nightmares and he's like, no, I don't have them anymore, and now he's opening up to Sam and he's like, yeah, I have them all the time. So you see just their bonding and I don't know, I liked it for that.
Huge amounts of growth.
Yeah.
And this character development, that's what they gave us, and I'm happy for that. Scene 11, we're going back to the 80s, kids. It's a montage. The training montage.
All day, bro.
Lots of shirtless Falcon throwing a shield.
No problem with that whatsoever.
I am here for that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable now. I'm just kidding. Let's see where we at. Scene 12.
I want to go back to the training montage really quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I know it was done on purpose. When Sam is jogging, every time Sam is jogging, he's jogging on the right side of the path and the left side is empty. They literally shot each moment where we saw his head. He was in the right side of the screen and there was nothing on the left. Mm-hmm. So they left it open for Steve.
And he points to his nephew. Says, all day.
Yep.
Nice. Uncle Sam. Sam.
Yeah. Real quick, during their little talk, what do you think we're supposed to get out of when he said Steve's gone? Because my wife instantly looked at me and was like, is he dead? And I'm like, well, it's really open interpretation the whole show,
Yeah.
They haven't shown the moon base and they haven't shown a headstone. So
we'll get to that. Actually, you know what? Now would be a good time to throw in your theory there, Courtney, that of what you heard. This may be kind of spoilery, but tough.
Didn't we already talk about it?
Nope.
Oh, the Wyatt Russell thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So there was an interview. Tyler said he read the text of it, but I watched the clip. There's an interview that Wyatt Russell was giving not too long ago, and the interviewer said, have you actually met Chris Evans yet? And also asked if you put the two pictures together on the internet, would it blow up the internet? Wyatt Russell's response was, you guys are just going to have to wait to the end of the series and see. And then he stops himself and he makes the Marvel's gonna fire me face, which we've seen on Tom Holland and other people. So whether he just spoiled something that he shouldn't have, and I've been saying since episode 1 to the guys that they're laying the groundwork for Steve to show up at some point in time. But that's just me wanting to see more Evans as Cap, I think. But even so whether Evans? Wyatt Russell just boo-booed and pulled a Tom Holland, or if he's trolling us and pulled a Paul Bettany, we will find out on Friday, I guess.
Fair enough.
So we'll see.
Okay, that'd be an interesting line. So
yeah.
I'll bring that up.
Really quick, just I know we're gonna move forward, but I think the scene in scene 11 where the little nephew is the very end where he's tracing the star on the shield, and that is so powerful. And then he just kind of looks up at him, and it's just this, just like wow, that to me was a huge little tiny moment. So I just had to sort of point that out.
Full of admiration.
Honestly, that was an important moment that, going back to what Isaiah said, this is the exact opposite of what he said. And this is why you take up the shield, not because you're bitter, because you hate the past, but because you believe in the future.
And he needed Sarah to tell him that, because she even tells him in the previous scene, don't let Isaiah Bradley tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. Like she's even all for it. So.
Yeah. Okay, scene 12. More Carly. Okay. Bad Talk is back. I love me some George St. Pierre. Anytime we can get him on screen, I'm happy.
Yeah.
There's still something here we don't know. There's a lot of, but here's one thing that's different about Carly now. She's loving the power.
Yeah.
Before it was, I feel like it was thrust on her. Now she is enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, you
the
can see that
glee on her
face.
face when she does the whistle. Yeah.
So I have a question for all of our tech inclined listeners. If they're using a smartphone to communicate, and like obviously an app of some sort, why the heck haven't they been able to track them prior to Joaquin finding them just now? Because I mean, I can't even go to the bathroom without Apple knowing where I am. So
think about something and then look at your Amazon list. It shows up.
Yeah.
Right.
Just think about it.
Or you search something on the internet and then you go to Facebook and there's an ad for what you just searched for. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
What? So tech people, explain this to me.
It's encrypted.
In the comments below, because I'm completely confused about why it's not possible.
It's the new technology, you see.
Anonymous can crash entire websites.
You see what it is, if you look closely, the program they're using is actually scroll technology.
No, but there's enough scroll in the government
sir.
that they'd be able to crack it.
Well played indeed.
That was ugly, and I don't know if I love you or hate you right now, Tyler. I really don't.
That's what I was going for.
You got to know the whistle. If you don't know the whistle,
secret scroll whistle.
She's freaking Katniss Everdeen or something. Like, come on.
I wish they could cut this. It's just, and then it's obvious. Hey, it's time for super terrorism.
With Batroc saying he's sorry,
go ahead.
But with Batroc saying he's only there to kill Falcon, it's the rumble in the jungle is coming. Everybody's going to be meeting in New York City. Again, they love New York.
Poor New York.
Yeah, right.
It's
we just rebuilt.
It's because the Marvel offices are in New York, so that's why they
rebuilt from Justice League.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see even Sharon Carter show up.
I feel like she hasn't been used enough, and I'm very sad about that.
Honestly, I would rather she wasn't in this than getting what we've gotten, unless it's something huge that we
I want her to kick some butt. I really like,
even if she's like power broker.
I don't even care. Like, do something with Sharon. Because Sharon got crapped on in the movie series. So give me more Sharon.
I mean, we got a taste of her kicking butt, early, but that was that was it.
Which again,
that's just making secret phone calls.
That scene is why I think she wasn't power broker, but we're past that episode now. And then they open up, the Pulp Fiction moment. They opened the case. The light comes in his face and like,
it's Marcellus Wallace's soul.
It was.
That's what's in the case.
I think that.
I read another joke, but it's probably not appropriate. So.
We all know what's in the case.
We all know what's in the case.
And I, for one,
new vibranium laced Captain America suit.
I can't wait to see it.
I hope they do it with the white thing that they use.
The white, and then the
you get a split. You get a split second where you can see a tiny bit of it, and it's just all you see is white.
But awesome. As much as I was talking about, I hope they don't. I'm sad that you guys don't get to see the wings with the costume. I hope they don't give him the wings because honestly, that takes everything away from the Tony Stark stuff and getting his wings ripped off.
Yeah,
I don't want him to have the wings back on that. Which is
I can't wait to see the new Cap suit. Like one of my favorite things about the Marvel universe is the new suit reveals. I like them in DC too. Just give me a new suit reveal and I'm a happy girl.
That's when a series starts again. That's why I pick up the first issue usually because I want to see what they did with it because it's cool.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. We all like our Barbies still. Okay. And then this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first post-credit scene we've had.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had the ones in WandaVision
with the cheap generic steel, which won't be able to do anything that the vibranium can do, and
in a cave with scraps.
But he is U.S. agent.
Yeah, he's U.S. agent now.
Yeah, and I want to see the black version of the Captain America suit because he's a super spy now.
I think like in the scene where they had in the fight scene at the beginning, you gotta get down. In the fight scene at the beginning, the lighting, I don't know if anybody noticed, the lighting on John Walker actually made the suit look blackish.
It was
as
very
opposed
dark.
to blue. Yeah, so they were really setting the scene for that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a nice
with
touch.
his garbage can lid shield.
Well, and then like just having the metal, when he put the metal on it, that just was cringy for me. But
it was cringy. But going back, I kind of understand on that because how can that mean anything to him anymore? Because they've taken everything away from him. So it's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna make this part of who I am without that. They don't recognize it anymore, but I'm gonna make this part of something I am.
One thing, if I can go back really quickly, and then I'll shut up for a while. It's in the Contessa scene. I do like the fact that she did bring up the fact that the shield is not government property.
It's a gray area.
Yeah, it doesn't belong. Because the other thing we have to remember is the shield that Steve gives to Sam is not the shield he carried all those years.
Right.
Because Thanos chopped that one in half. The one that he gives him is one he brought back from the alternate timeline he lived in. So that's why it's whole. It's not quite the same scenes. But the other thing, it's also made out of stolen vibranium, which belongs to the Wakandans.
But they're obviously giving it up quite a bit. So they're giving a whole...
they almost took it back. The fight scene.
Yeah.
They could
it up to her arm.
Legally, they could have taken it because it technically belongs to Wakanda.
Yeah.
But they won't.
So I do like that the fact that they brought up the shield does not belong to the government. That it's kind of this gray area.
Yeah.
Which makes it open for Sam to have it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the whole show. I want to actually ask you guys one question as quickly as possible. What do you want to see happen next week on the finale? Let's start with you, Michelle.
I think like everyone, I want to see the suit. I want to see him put that suit on. I want to see him just become what we see him finally accepting and embracing that he's ready to become. I don't know if we're going to, I guess we wouldn't see new Falcon. I don't know. That bums me out a little bit, but I know. I dream. And yeah, I think that's it. Like, I just want to see that. I want to see the end result of this arc that we've been watching him on. And just see where that goes.
Nice. Tyler?
I can't wait till they finally reveal Mephisto.
Nobody had to say it.
Wrong weekly. No, I can't wait to see the resolve there with Bucky. I think we'll get a little bit of, he's gonna a little bit of what's her name at the end of
Contessa or
no.
Sharon?
Oh hell, drawing a blank. Anyway, he's gonna go his own way and hang, maybe start something in the bayou there.
Sarah. Okay.
Oh, Sarah. Yeah, we're shipping him and Sarah.
Totally.
I think
no pun
it'd be cool
intended.
if we get a little resolve there. Like, Bucky's like, all right, time to really settle down and get out of this crap. And Power Broker, obviously, I'd really like to see who the heck we've been freaking talking about. Sometime. He, she, who knows?
Should be he, but yes, because
and
comics,
and then finally seeing Thunderbolt Ross walk in will be great.
I was waiting for that.
I know you were. Couldn't lay you down.
And Courtney,
you're probably gonna guitar me for this, but I want to see 40 minutes of ass whooping. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
I'm talked out. We've had 5 episodes. I want to see Sam and Bucky and Sharon just kick people's
Carly's
ass
butt.
all
it's all Carly.
New York City. I want some Winter Soldier on the bridge in DC throw down fighting. That's what I want.
I think you're gonna get it.
And then I want Steve to walk in and go, yeah, and then we're done.
Oh wow!
Just like that with the double guns.
Shooter.
I've seen a
Shooter
couple
McGavins.
teasers.
I want him to walk in. I don't care if he's 400 years old at this point in time. I just want him to go, that's my Sam. And then just walk on out.
Or hobble. Or
He'd slowly
I know he
walk
was
out,
pretty
though,
spry
right?
in Endgame.
his
So
little
who knows?
walker.
No, and
He's
honestly,
still got the super serum in him. He's good.
honestly, I'm going to say this. I don't care how it ends. I just want closure on everything. Show me who the power broker is. Show me what's going on with Sharon. Kill Carly and
Dump Carly in a river.
dump her in a river and and let the heroes be heroes. That's all I really want.
It looks like you're going to get a lot of that
I hope
butt
so.
whooping there, Courtney.
35 minutes of ass whooping. That's
There's
what I
a
want.
couple.
No
couple teasers
talkie-talkie,
floating
more
around. I don't know
fighty-fighty.
how
No talking.
accurate they are, but
Can
Yeah,
we
it
just
looks like
end
it.
it? Can we just end it with Bucky and Sarah on a boat, like drifting into
Riding
the-
off to the sunset in
I
the bayou.
think
Yeah, I'm good with that.
you might see Sam and Sharon go up against each other.
Maybe.
I don't think she's a
Little weird.
friend.
I don't.
Yeah.
I say I'm not even speculating. I think that she is okay. I think she's double agenting everything, but that's just me. But we'll see. We will see
Yep.
next week. It will
Can't
all be
wait.
settled next week. So check out our website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the com. We paid extra for it. Go to our Facebook, share, like, talk to us. We talk back. And most importantly, this week, go to our GoFundMe and support a family of a great friend of the show and a great guy, period. Miss Shadino, love you, and keep on geeking on, guys.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the I Heart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.